Well, Finny, it's time to play Naughty Boy. What up, guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. And thanks for coming back for some more popcorns. Real quick, guys, if you haven't done so already, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button. Little secret, use one of the prop masks for our short late court for that intro there. Keep your eyes out. Well, I saw the Black Phone yesterday, and it's been a crazy week, so I haven't really been posting a whole lot of stuff on here, but I was finally able to get to see it. Just had all kinds of stuff other going on. But I was really looking forward to this movie because it was directed by Scott Derrickson, the guy who did Sinister, which I love. And you guys might not know the history, but he got let go of Doctor Strange 2 because he wasn't agreeing with Disney and their vision, and so they parted ways. Apparently they weren't making it dark enough like he wanted to make it. So in turn, he went and did this movie, The Black Phone, which is actually based off of a short story written by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. And from what I understand, Joe Hill was really pleased with the way this turned out. It takes place in the 70s, and Scott Derrickson does a really good job of depicting that time in the 70s. Filming anything in another decade where everything has to be like authentic is a way bigger task than a lot of people realize, and I think he pulled it off nicely in this. And unlike a lot of other horror movies, the kids aren't safe in this. This movie is about kids getting abducted. And one of the kids that gets abducted, you're actually kind of in his perspective the entire film. So that alone already is a pretty scary premise. And pretty much nobody in this movie is in any danger except for the kids. It's not like a Friday the 13th movie or a Freddy movie where they're kind of in danger and nothing's happening. No, the kids are kind of the kill counts in this. And there is a kill count in this movie, but it's not a slasher. You just have to see it. I'm definitely not going to spoil anything here, but it's just done in a very clever way. Kind of like the way Sinister was done. There was no real kills happening throughout the movie, but there was a kill count when he was watching those videos. So it definitely disturbed you. One thing I was worried about with this movie was it being like kind of too much like Sinister. Like Sinister was a big deal, it did really well, and the studio was like, make another movie like that. But he didn't. Scott Derrickson made an original horror movie that is nothing like Sinister. Sinister was a little bit darker, and it kind of got to your gut a little bit more when you're just kind of like, oh, when he's watching those videos. But Black Phone has a little bit more of a scary actual like premise to it that's a little bit more believable. It's kind of like the difference between Scream and Devil's Rejects. Scream, it scares you in moments and everything, but it doesn't make you feel dirty like Devil's Rejects did. Sinister kind of made you feel dirty. This one's not like that, but it's still scary in a very scary situation. But it also has a really good story to it. It's not just, hey, let's make a horror movie to be gimmicky and just try to like, oh, be trendy with scares. No, it actually has like a really good story that you can follow that's interesting, and I've never really seen this approach to a storyline before. I found myself pretty engaged the whole time. Ethan Hawke plays the villain in this, and you know that right off. That's not really ruining anything. The villain they're talking about, who they call the Grabber, who likes to play this game with the kids called Naughty Boy. Now, while this movie might not have been quite as sadistic as Sinister, and don't get me wrong, it's sadistic, it's about someone kidnapping and abducting children. But the jump scare scenes in this movie were top notch, like some of the best I've ever seen, simply because you do not see them coming. There's nothing worse than watching a horror movie and being like, all right, you ready? Here it goes, and jump scare. No, this one, you're watching it, you're really engaged in the plot line and what's going on with some characters, and you're just not expecting this scare scene to come out. But boy, when they hit, you're just like, oh!
Real.
Yeah, I have to say, Scott Derrickson knew what he was doing when he did that in this movie. Ultimately, this is telling a story of a child abduction through the child's eyes, and you're finding out about all these other things that this guy has done. The Grabber. And the way all that transpires was pretty original, and I gotta give it to Scott Derrickson. Didn't like it quite as much as Sinister, but I still liked it a lot. I still really enjoyed it. It was very original. And just like Sinister, I think 20 years from now, it's gonna be one of those horror movies that's still gonna hold up. It's gonna be really good still, not based on trends. There's also some really intense moments, some moments where you're getting some glimmers of hope and then that gets shattered. And it has all those things that you want from a good, well-paced film, but at the same time, it's dark and it's an original story, not just following horror movie tropes. And while it is about this child abduction and this killer going around abducting all these children in this town back in the 70s, There is an underlying theme to this horror film, like a lot of other great horror films. And what I got out of it was basically kind of like a bullying, anti-bully movie. Not that it's a bullying film and it's like based on bullies in this movie. It's not. You'll just have to see what I'm talking about when you watch it. But what I got out of it was kind of like saying to the victims, hey, if you're being bullied, it's time to stand up. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself because you can make that change. You have to set that precedent. And it's also saying to the bullies, hey, you watch out, bullies. You never know when that victim's gonna stand up for himself and ruin your day right back. So there's just a lot to dig into this movie and a lot to think about. And overall, I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. I give The Black Phone a B+, but a solid B+. I'll be adding it to the Blu-ray collection. Well, that'll do it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and hit that like button if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And as always, if life gives you lemons, make some hot